This video will explain how we are related to the Razor King. King Camp Gillette, 1855 to 1932, was the president of the Gillette Company. His father, George Wolcott II, 1824 to 1903, actually invented the clipping machine. King Camp Gillette was born in Fond du Lac County, Wisconsin. He was known as the founder of the Gillette Corporation. He made money by selling razors at a loss, but made his profit when selling the disposable blades. He was said to be the inventor of the safety razor at 40 years old, and the idea didn't begin to make a profit until he was 47. By 1924, the company was making $8 million a year after paying expenses. We all know about the Razor Company, but we did not know that according to Britannica, Gillette wrote a series of books and other writings on utopian socialism. He envisioned a planned society organized by engineers. He thought that competition was wasteful. He offered President Theodore Roosevelt $1 million to join him in his vision and be the president of an experimental world corporation in Arizona Territory. We know that didn't happen. Gillette remained president of the company until 1931, but he had retired from active participation in 1913. Let's talk about the Great Mausoleum, Begonia Corridor, in Forest Lawn Memorial Park, Glendale, Los Angeles County, California. King's father, George Wolcott II, died in New York in 1903 at the age of 78. He was buried in New York, but his remains were removed to Forest Lawn in California in 1925 when King Camp Gillette purchased a family room in the Great Mausoleum. Fanny Camp Gillette, King's mother, was famous in her own right. Her obituary from 1926 told of her life and accomplishments. It said she was the mother of King C. Gillette, president of the Gillette Safety Razor Company. She died on Christmas Day at the Beverly Hills Hotel at age 98. She had many prominent friends, and she was active until a few months before her death. She took physical exercise night and morning and ate 3 hearty meals daily. It goes on to say that her husband was George Wolcott Gillette, inventor of the Gillette clipping machine and founder of the Gillette Company. George passed the company to his son King, and King gave it to the company's employees. Fanny wrote the White House Cookbook in 1887, which sold millions of copies. King was the only survivor of 4 sons and 3 daughters. King Camp Gillette, and by the way, Camp was his mother's maiden name, was my husband's first cousin 3 times removed. So if you are first cousins or any cousin for that matter, you share a common grandfather. King's father, George Wolcott II, was my husband's second great-granduncle. George's father was also named George, I guess George Sr., and he was my husband's 3 times great-grandfather. George married Phoebe Brown, and they had 6 children that I know of. One was Warren B. Gillette, my husband's second great-grandfather. Don't you just love how everyone named their children after the father or the mother? George was already taken, so they named him Warren. The name George had skipped a generation, and Warren named one of his sons George, who just happened to be my husband's great-grandfather, the man who married Sarah, the cute one. This George didn't name any of his sons George, but started the line of Thomases. I can go ahead and add some drama from the 1500s. Gillette is a Bergerac name and has many different spellings. Bergerac is located in southwestern France. Bergerac was founded by monks in the 11th century. It is believed that the ancestor, Reverend Jacques de Gillette, or Gillette, 12th great-grandfather, lived there and was present at the massacre of Saint Bartholomew in Paris in August 1572. The famous painting of the depiction of the massacre is public domain, but it may hurt the sensibilities of this platform, so I will not include it in this video. The Reverend continued to preach the gospel, so he was banished from Bergerac, and his property was confiscated. His life was also threatened, so he gathered his family and fled to Scotland, and later immigrated to England. That means that the early Gillettes were Protestants and followed the teachings of Calvin. The French Protestants were persecuted by the French Catholic government during a violent period, and the Huguenots, or the French Protestants, fled the country. One of Reverend Jacques' sons, William Edward Gillette, followed his father into the ministry. This William had the son named Jonathan Gillette, who immigrated to America. Here the American story began. So many stories, so little time.